It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you, so let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor?
Welcome everyone to the 5,525th meeting of the Rotary Club of Chicago. My name is Marshall Schmidt, and I have been privileged this past year to be the 116th president of the Rotary Club of Chicago. Today, however, it's about the number 117. For the 117th time, this organization is going to install a president. Even though it is a traditional experience, the 117th time, it is also a historic installation because it is the first installation that will be conducted outdoors in my neighborhood, in our gazebo. It will also be the first installation of a Rotary Club president, of a Rotary One president, to be done virtually. It actually is the second time it was done in a pandemic. We've been around so long that this organization has done installations in pandemics. We'd like to start the meeting with an invocation from our immediate past president, Coletta Cowie.
Thank you, Marshall, and good afternoon. As I was reading the bio of the International President Knaack, the Chicago One President-elect Seppel this morning, I couldn't help but think of the history that Rotary and Chicago, the birthplace of Rotary, connect. Chicago, the Windy City, city of broad shoulders, city that works, and is known for her beautiful skyline, architecture, and museum, and my favorite, Lake Michigan. Chicago would not be recognized for any of these achievements if we did not have gifted and talented engineers to develop and improve our city. So it's only fitting that today, Eric Seppel will be installed as our 117th president. His experience as a national and international engineer and transportation consultant mean he's well suited to lead us in this important time. In the past several weeks, we have been reminded of the daily injustice many people suffer in our city, in our country, and in the world. As Rotarian, we bind together every day with the things we think, say, or do. This is a critical time for all Rotarians to serve the less fortunate, for us to stand together for social justice, equality, honesty, and ethics in all our dealing, so we may all prosper and succeed together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colette. And now we will have Nancy Ross, incoming president of the Union League Club, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If we could all stand, please. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
So as everyone can tell, we're conducting this meeting in a slightly different format than the meetings we've been conducting on Zoom up until now. We're in the webinar format, and the people who will participate in the ceremony today appear on your screen as panelists. And I'd like to introduce those panelists today. As Colette alluded to, we have the incoming president of Rotary International, Holger Knaack, We have the newly installed governor for District 6450, Chuck Corrigan. We have the incoming Rotary 1 president, Eric Kempel. We have the secretary of the board of Rotary 1 and chair of our membership committee, Laura Inns. We have Michael Ferris, past president of Rotary 1 and current chair of the Rotary 1 Foundation. And then we have new members, Donna Mitsos, Nick Del Carlo, Jenny Fawbush, and Tony Hale. And finally, I would like to recognize other special guests who are with us on the meeting today, starting with Debbie Ross, the immediate past district governor. We have Rotary International directors, former Rotary International Director Rob Kniffer, also past president of Rotary 1 and past district governor. I believe we have past district governor David Templin, past president as well. We have a series of former district governors, including Pedro Ceballos, Rob, David Templin. And then we have a host of former Rotary 1 presidents, including Mike Ferris and others. So thank you everyone for coming and sharing in this historic moment. We appreciate your presence. Now is the time in the Rotary year where I get to reflect on my year as president. And in my experience, reflections on the past usually consist of three main components. First, you remember the good times. The second, you contemplate and acknowledge lessons learned. And third, and most important for me, you appreciate those whom you've been blessed to meet along the way. I want to start just by talking about some of the good times and thanking people, but I need to start with my thank yous with two very special parties that are worthy of special appreciation. The first is my law firm, Michael Best & Friedrich, which has essentially given me up for a year to serve in this role. I very much appreciate the support I've received from the managing partner, David Krebs, and the entire management team. But the most special thank you has to go to my family, my wife, Linda, my children, Laurel, Megan, and Lucas, and Linda's sister, Diane, all of whom have supported me without question in an endeavor that has taken me away from a lot of family outings and a lot of family time. I cannot express how grateful I am to my family. The year began with a board retreat up at our lake house in Michigan, where many of the officers and board members came to spend a wonderful weekend. And in the slideshow, you saw a recreation of a picture that was taken of Paul Harris at Paw Paw Lake, which is not far from where our lake house is. We had a wonderful time, and I want to thank the board both for that retreat and the entire year of support that they provided to me. We got a good start in thinking strategically about where the club needed to go and more about strategic planning lately. We had many special weekly meetings. We had a program committee that was exceptional. David Hirsch and Don Garner were the official members, but Eric Kempel pitched in, and they arranged an amazing array of speakers, for which I am very, very grateful. The biggest event at the beginning of the year was the Passport to the World that Don Garner organized. We had over 300 people, most of the Chicago diplomatic community, to celebrate our international connections. We celebrated at the Union League Club, and we're still being told what a fun evening it was. We had the chair of the Federal Reserve Board speak to us. We had a who's who of political leaders. We had Kwame Raoul come speak to us on a very special meeting where we had partners of RI directors who came to celebrate a book drive where all of the attendees brought books. The RI partners brought an array of international books. It was very, very special. We had the mayor, who explained her eradicating poverty initiative and how she wants to eradicate poverty in a generation. We had the Cook County board president, Tony Preckwinkle, on the eve of the pandemic, talking to us about the extreme problems that Cook County Hospital faced because of the pandemic. We had Kim Fox, the Cook County State's Attorney, who provided wonderful insights into the criminal justice system. We had a host of corporate leaders, including the CEOs of Encyclopedia Britannica and Underwriters Laboratory. And then the pandemic hit. And thanks to Eric and David and Don, we sponsored a series of COVID-related programs, including Elliot Richardson of the Small Business Advisory Council, who provided help to small businesses. We had a medical panel led by our very own Andrew Dykens, with representatives from Korea and the UK. But our special time together was spent for our service projects. And I'd like to thank the chairs of our Community Services Committee, Sarah Buck and John Wilhelm, for all that they did. You can see on the slide, that should be on the screen, the list of service projects that we did this year. And one I want to highlight in particular in the right-hand column, our Interact Club. We brought Interact back to Rotary One, and again, with the help of Don Garner and his wonderful daughter, we we chartered an Interact Club, who in the midst of the pandemic, self-organized a mask project to donate 80 masks to local homeless shelters. We also sponsored Meals for the Front Line through the work of Eric Kemple and Alita Williams. We delivered meals. You saw some of those in the slideshow as well. Our International Services Committee also had a banner year. You see on this slide the projects we funded, the projects that we've committed support to, and the projects that we've funded from other clubs. Betsy Meisenheimer and Marga Huco led that committee and did a wonderful job of organizing. Our Vocational Services Committee was led by Alita Williams, and you'd think that an internship program for high school student kids would have been a victim of the pandemic, but not with Alita at the helm. She salvaged that project and carried on and provided tremendous value to our youth. I want to thank the chair of our membership committee, Laura Inns, whom you will hear from later. Her energy, organization, and personal engagement have totally energized our membership initiatives. And I'm proud to say that we're going to initiate 4 new members here today, and we've initiated many in the preceding weeks. And so for all the members of the club, I want to be the first to announce and congratulate you all. Our work has entitled us to the Rotary Citation and the highest level of presidential recognition, the platinum level. This year, however, will always be remembered for transition and turmoil. So in this regard, it was Eric Kemple and Timo Riebach, our president-elect and our president nominee, who really got us through. Eric, beginning with that retreat that I talked about, initiated a strategic planning process that has resulted in a wonderful strategic plan that will lead us into the future. We transitioned to a new administrator. And I would be remiss if I did not thank our previous administrator, David Phelps, and his wife, Nancy, for the years of service that they committed to this club and all that they did for this club. But in January, we started out with Chicago Area Management Association, CAM, and led by Ed Graziano. And Ed and his team, Shelby and Tamara and Karen and Laura and others, have done a wonderful job. We lost a member this year, Carl Zimmerman. It was probably our lowest moment. Carl was one of our most active members. He co-chaired the Job 1 committee with Alita. Carl will be missed. The pandemic revolutionized this club. We very quickly turned to Zoom, and something very good came out of the pandemic. Something that is called the Rotary Network, which you're going to hear more about. It's an effort to institutionalize the help that we need to provide to Rotarians during pandemics, during other times of economic difficulty, and every day, because Rotary, from the very beginning, has been committed to helping each other network in the business community. And although they will remain nameless, I want to thank the member who came to Eric and me and shared how devastating the pandemic was in his life. He inspired us to go out and talk to people about creating the Rotary Network. But we do this installation in the wake of tremendous civil unrest that has highlighted, as Colette alluded to, the differences in our society and the inequities in our society. And both the pandemic and the civil unrest that we have experienced has taught us the most important lessons, that out of turmoil comes hope, and out of unrest comes understanding. You probably are all thinking that my year as president has caused me to go insane by starting the meeting with Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and walking in a sweater. I picked Mr. Rogers to open this meeting because of all the people that I know I've ever come in contact in my life. No one but Fred Rogers understands better how to celebrate the integrity of the individual. No one knows better that we are all neighbors. No one is better at communicating how important it is to treat each other as neighbors. And he understands better than anyone that our strength as a country and as a species lies in our differences, and that we are all in this together, despite our differences. I was reminded this year that all of these lessons are ingrained in the fiber of Rotary. This is an organization that values
You're muted.
you
It's okay.
all on this call have taught me these lessons. You've been a constant reminder of these lessons. And for that, I thank you all. I thank you for showing me the good in people and the worth in every single person. Thank you for putting up with my idiosyncrasies. You did everything that I asked of you and so much more. By supporting me as your president, you have all given me a gift that I cannot repay. But please know how much I appreciate each one of you and how much I look forward to continuing our Rotary journey together. Thank you. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing our newly installed District Governor, Chuck Corrigan, who will introduce our incoming Rotary International President. Chuck.
Thank you, Marshall, and congratulations on a truly outstanding year as president of Rotary One. On behalf of the district, you have certainly done an outstanding job, and in your modest and empowering way allowed the others in your club to really shine in your year. So thank you very much. It is my privilege to introduce the president within the next 12 hours. Of course, he's ahead of us, so he's even closer to his start of his year in Germany. Guten Tag, Holger. Nice to see you. I've had the pleasure of meeting Holger in person at zone meetings at the International Assembly in San Diego and at Midwest Pests. And each time he has impressed myself and Rotarians there with his warmth, his engaging nature, and his insightful views on Rotary. Let me tell you a little bit about our president. Holger has a degree in business administration from the University of Applied Sciences, Kiel. Since 1995, Holger has been CEO of a real estate company, Knaack KG. Previously, he was with a partner and general manager of Knaack Bakery Enterprises, which is a 125-year-old family business. He's chairman and founder of Karl Adams Stiftung Foundation in Germany. And for 6 years, he has served as chairman of Rotary Youth Exchange in Germany. A Rotarian since 1991, Holger is a member of the Rotary Club of Herzogenaurach Lauenburg-Mölln. He was RI Director and RI Treasurer, as well as a member of the Executive Committee of the Board. In addition, Holger has served on the Council of Legislation as a zone coordinator, a GETS trainer, and an RI training leader. He's a moderator of the 2019 Rotary International Assembly, an endowment and major gift advisor, and of course, co-chaired the 2019 Hamburg Convention host operating committee. Holger is a major donor to the Rotary Foundation, a member of the Paul Harris Society and the Bequest Society. Married to Susan for 43 years, the couple has hosted more than 40 Rotary Youth Exchange students. Fellow Rotarians and guests, I happily present RI President Holger Knaack.
Thank you very much, and for inviting me here to your unbelievable event of the Rotary Club #1. I'm not even president right now. It's, as you said, Chuck, some hours to go. But there's only one time in the world, and that's Chicago time, what is important here. So again, I'm honored to be with you here. I'm at home, of course, in Germany, and to be very honest, I think that's the most safest place you can be right now. And I left Chicago on the 18th of March when there was nobody working in the office. So for Suzanne and I, there was no reason to stay longer in Chicago. And since that time, I'm at home. And I chatted this morning with President Mark Maloney, with still President Mark Maloney, and he told me that he stayed for right now 102 nights at home in Alabama. And so I hope that I will not beat him with this record he took staying so long at home. So I'm talking about opportunities. And for me, everything are opportunities. And that's why I choose this team. Rotary opens opportunities. And it's opened opportunities for the people we serve when we are providing eyeglasses or wheelchairs or clean water. But it also opens opportunities for ourselves to reach a more meaningful life, the opportunity for service, but also the opportunity being part of a great network. And Marshall, you just mentioned that we are really coming back to the basic, using our network when Rotarians are helping Rotarians. This is one of the benefits and opportunities for ourselves, and that's totally okay. I personally believe in our core values, of course. Coming from Germany, for us, yes, Rotary is a community of shared values. For us is integrity, service, all our core values really important, and this builds the basis in our Rotary clubs. Coming to my goals, I think that's easy to read. That's not a problem. So I don't want to talk about this, and I'm happy to hear that one of my messages that having a strategic meeting and a strategic plan for each club is already done in your Rotary clubs. Thank you very much for that, because yes, Rotary clubs are autonomous, so they are can do and have to do their own strategy. Thank you for that. I'm always hoping that clubs are keeping what we are learning right now, these virtual meetings and all these things we are learning in this pandemic. And I just spoke yesterday to the oldest club in Berlin, Berlin, but this is a 90-year-old club, 91-year-old club in Berlin. And they decided already to have once a month a Zoom meeting to make sure that they are all that they can connect with all members in their Rotary clubs. But I would like to talk with you about my concerns and my dreams. So my concerns indeed are what's going on in the world right now. You know, many states have closed their borders right now, and thank God that that borders are open in Germany right now. But we see more and more national egoism, which hinders the view outwards to the common ground. And Rotarians cannot open borders, but we can and must fight together to prevent barriers from forming in our minds. Rotarians are open-minded. And as I said in San Diego, Rotary is not political, and it must stay that way. But if things goes obviously wrong, Rotarians cannot be speechless. We are not only measured by our results, as Paul Harris said, but also by our attitude. And this leads me to the next points. And Marshall, you spoke about that. The wave that was unleashed in North America about whatever you call it, Black Lives Matters or social injustice or institutional racism. That does not matter. It reminds us on an international level that racism is everywhere. And Rotarians can be proud that we launched already nearly 2 years ago our diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. But that's not enough. Rotary clubs and districts have to take action here. We have to show that we are able to make this diversity a reality. And if people ask me about my dreams next year, I have a very clear answer. I hope to see many more young professionals in our Rotary clubs and, of course, Rotaractors.
So one more time, sorry.
I would love to see more women in our Rotary clubs and, of course, more women in leaderships. And I'm very proud that on my board next year, there will be 6 women. And next year on Shaker Mate's board, there will be 8 women serving as directors. Probably 9. We don't know who's the next president. And of course, I would like to be ending, I would like to end polio next year. That will be difficult because we have to close our, to cancel our house-to-house vaccinations right now, what is obviously. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm normally closing my speech when I've said, Rotary is such a wonderful, unique organization that we all love. And it is our mission to advance and protect Rotary for the generations to come. Rotary opens opportunities for the people we serve and for ourselves. I wish you, Eric, as an incoming president, all the best and all the best to the Rotary Club. And again, thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Holger, I think your next task is to actually do the installation. I believe you might have some text on your paper there to actually give me the oath, and I will repeat after you. I can give you just a quick heads up as to what you're about to witness, as we have a fair amount of regalia and some pomp and circumstance here, as Marshall will first pass to me the president's sash, which has on it the names of every Rotary One president since 1905. Marshall will also take a few medallions he has for the Rotary One president and place them on me. He will also remove his president's pin, his official president's pin, and place it on me. And then finally, I have a past president's pin that I will pin on Marshall, and we'll conclude that by unveiling the banner that reflects the background you see behind Holger, which will be the new banner for Rotary International for the upcoming year.
I, Eric Campbell, as president of the Rotary Club of Chicago,
I, Eric Kempel, as president of the Rotary Club of Chicago,
will do the best of my ability
will, to the best of my ability,
administer the duties of the office of president
administer the duties of the office of president
in a businesslike manner
in a businesslike manner
and in accordance with the club's constitution and bylaws,
and in accordance with the club's constitution and bylaws.
and that I will support the district governor
And that I will support the district governor
and our president of Rotary International.
and our president of Rotary International. Thank you very much, Holger. Now the passing of the sash.
So this is the sash, which is quite heavy. Begin with that. These are two presidential medallions, one of more recent vintage. And this one actually has the pins from the first four presidents of the Rotary Club of Chicago. Oops, glasses. And this is the ceremonial pinning. This is the pin that I've tried to wear every single day that I've been a Rotary president. This symbolizes that I am the club president, which is now Eric's.
And then, of course, I have something to pin on Marshall, which is, I am told, everybody's favorite pin, which is the official past president pin for the Rotary Club of Chicago. Put it there so I don't put a hole in your. Oh. And there we go. And we're pinned.
And let me be the first to introduce the 117th president of the Rotary Club of Chicago.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, incoming President Holger. And I also need to reveal here our new banner for the Rotary year. Rotary opens opportunities, as Holger said. I think we now, before I give my remarks, we should also administer the oath for our new board members as well. And Holger, if you don't mind me troubling you once again to take that same language and administer the oath for the board members. The board members will not be live, so you are free to just read through the oath, but this would be just for the board members.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm happy to do that. So I think I have to choose to change the language a little bit. And now it means we, the board members of the Rotary Club of Chicago, will do the best of our ability administer the duties of the office of board members in a businesslike manner and in accordance with the club's constitution and bylaws, and that we will support the district governor and our president of Rotary International.
Thank you very much, Holger. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to our newest board members. I appreciate your service to this club, and of course, our board members from this previous year, Marshall's year, that are just stepping down. I appreciate your service as well. They tell me you are wicked, and I believe that. And they tell me you are crooked, and I answer, yes, it is true. And they tell me you are brutal. My reply is, I have seen the marks of want and hunger. But I say to them, come and show me another city with lifted heads, singing so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning. Rotary International President Holger Knaack, District Governor Chuck Corrigan, past District Governor Debbie Ross, past President Marshall, President of the Union League Club Nancy Ross, members of the board of Rotary One, fellow members of my club, family, friends, and all the visitors from around the world attending today. Welcome, and thank you for choosing to spend your afternoon with us at this installation. With our long lead time for electing presidents in this club, I've had 3 years to think about this speech I'm giving you today. And I've had to totally rethink it in the last 3 months. As Marshall said, I certainly didn't think I'd be speaking to you via a video feed from an undisclosed location in Marshall's backyard. I can't say I expected a pandemic. With a mere 7,200 deaths in our state, considered pretty lucky, and the year only half over. Couldn't imagine the economic lockdown that ensued, and I still can't fathom what the economic and personal fallout will be. And as many have said, amidst this, the anger and the soul searching about whether justice and peace really are givens for all Chicagoans. That's a lot of weight to bear on our shoulders, but this is the city of big shoulders, and we are the people of action in that city. And this is our time to shine. This is what we do. In a city with a massive amount of human potential waiting to be unleashed, Rotary helps people to fulfill that potential. I won't lie that I'm an optimist, and optimism has fallen out of style. So I'm feeling a little bit lonely these days. But more accurately, as an engineer, I'm fundamentally a realist, and the data just point me to optimism. I'm an optimist when Africa is declared polio-free. I'm an optimist when I hear world hunger is at record lows and global tree cover is at record highs. I'm an optimist when Harold Green shares his gift of poetry with us and with children who need a positive way to express their feelings. I'm an optimist when Nellie Vasquez-Rowland and a safe haven house and feed and educate and employ the homeless and keep them safe during COVID-19. Or when our club, via Alita Williams, delivers nearly 900 meals to heroes on the front line at the height of the COVID-19 crisis. Problems are surmountable when people rise to the occasion. Now, people always ask an incoming Rotary president, what are your priorities for the year? The answer is easy. It's contained in the draft 12-page strategic plan we just created together. Through this plan, you all are leading me, not the other way around. This plan is important, not because it's best practice, and not just because it will give us a guide, a blueprint. It's because it reflects your feedback, your input, your desires, what you want to get out of the club, and what you want to do with the club. I've been told that a common guiding principle in many larger, well-established Rotary clubs is the question, what would Paul Harris think? We are rooted in the foundation he and his cohorts created, one of trust, ethics, fellowship, and service. This is inherent to who we are. But Paul Harris, founder of this club and therefore founder of Rotary, passed away 73 years ago. Based on what we know about Paul and his character, I suspect he would say, why are you so worried about what I would think? What I'm concerned about is what Alita or Marilyn or Neetha or Wes or Betsy or John or Laura think. Because it's your club and it's now. We always should be looking forward. And so we've created a plan with 5 key goals for our future. First, plan and prioritize or focus. We can have a greater impact if we are disciplined in how we spend our money and time. Second, implement together. Our service projects have to be more hands-on, creating more opportunities for fellowship in the process. Third, report on our success or market and communicate. Rotary as a whole is notorious for shying away from self-promotion. Most people still don't know Rotary is the driving force behind wiping polio off the map, eradicating an entire debilitating deadly disease from the planet. Our own members don't know the dozens of local and international service projects we do that Marshall showed a few slides back. Fourth, by doing all of these things, we grow a diverse membership, which means adding new members, but perhaps more importantly, adding value for and consequently retaining you, our existing members. And fifth, and also most importantly, through all of these actions, impact the community. We move the needle locally and internationally, externally, but also internally, our own Rotary community. So now we focus on implementing that plan. And if we successfully implement it over the next 5 years, we will be the club that we said we want to become. Since our committees are where the action actually happens, each committee has created its own plan to align with the club's strategic plan with the intent of focusing our service geographically and topically. Our community service committee, for example, has chosen to focus on disease prevention and education. If I were running for office right now, my top 3 priorities, frankly, would be education, education, and education. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Academic education, of course, but also job skills education, life skills, how to build a business, how to better resolve conflicts and make peace. And you have the power to move the needle in these areas. You are a powerful group of people, not just with our financial resources, but with our skills and our relationships and our hands-on projects. The number one request to come out of our strategic planning outreach. Our committees and myself, we will create the hands-on opportunities that can make lasting change. I need to see you there by our side. This is a time in our city where even just being present is impactful. Even just being present makes a statement. But we don't maximize our impact alone. We have so many great partnerships we've built through the years, often brought to us by our members with organizations like a Safe Haven or the Jesse White Foundation. New members also bring new possibilities for partnerships. And of course, other Rotary clubs around the world and in our district. I'm particularly proud of the strong bond we forged with our fellow clubs in the city of Chicago. We are, after all, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny, as Martin Luther King Jr. said. We are one city, and we are all each other's neighbors. My fellow Rotarians, you are such a wonderful group of people. While the world outside of these virtual walls exhausts itself finding ways to be angry with one another, we focus our energy on outcome, what we can do together to serve, doing good in the world. I wouldn't have guessed 11 years ago when I walked into my first Rotary One meeting at the Union League Club, at the urging of my wife, a Rotarian from South Korea, a fair amount of trepidation, mind you, that I'd be standing here before you as president. What were you guys thinking? I want to thank you all for your confidence in me. I want you to know how important you all are to me. It is an honor to have been elected president of the world's first Rotary Club. It is an honor to have been elected president of the Rotary Club in this city, my city, city of the big shoulders, stormy, husky, brawling Chicago. And that city needs you now. Now is the time to serve. Now is the time for service above self. So let's get to work. All right. So I now have a special presentation because you haven't heard me speaking long enough quite yet. So let me start with the PowerPoint, which is up on the screen. Fantastic. So the Rotary Club of Chicago proudly presents This Was the Year That Was, AKA Marshall Schmidt, a retrospective, AKA, wait, 2020 is only halfway done? This would be otherwise known in layman's terms as a roast. Marshall Schmidt. Marshall Schmidt, the 116th president of the first Rotary Club, the first service club in the world, our leader. Marshall, it has been incredible. What amazing meetings we had, what unmatched speakers, unparalleled events. There were so many people you and we were able to connect with, from Jesse Reyes to Lori Lightfoot to Kwame Raoul to consuls general from around the globe. We had great programs and things were going really well. I mean, what could go wrong? Hey, we all try to make predictions for a Rotary year, but some predictions Marshall made early in the Rotary year were not to be. So alas, to protect the safety of our Rotarians and adhere to the shelter-in-place orders, we canceled our time-honored tradition of in-person meetings and moved to online virtual meetings via Zoom with some trepidation. But we knew this was the only way to ensure some connectivity between our members, the ability to see each other and still enjoy a break from the fears of pandemic to enjoy renowned speakers like we have every Tuesday in the past. And most interestingly, it actually worked very well. While lacking the in-person elements of fellowship, it did nevertheless break down geographic constraints for our speakers and guests, expanding our reach and attracting new members, and even helping us reconnect with a few old friends we haven't seen in a while. Paul, you're not on mute, Paul. Paul, he's not on mute. Marshall facilitated many incredible events and projects throughout the year, working with our members and their creativity. Things like the ongoing dictionary project, the tailoring for TOTS and Haiti event, and dozens of other service projects throughout the year. When COVID-19 struck, Marshall made sure we were quick to mobilize and find ways we could support our community. Of course, there's more to Rotary than working hard for the community and arranging great programs. Some say there's the little-known fifth element to the four-way test: fun. For example, Marshall hosted a board retreat at his summer home in Michigan, as he mentioned. Now look at the joy on past President Collette's face as he realizes he no longer has to be president. There was our annual birthday party where we enjoyed a fun game of trivia, and Marshall spun a wheel to see who would win a giant picture of a buffalo. The winner? No one. Turns out it was owned by the restaurant. And then there was the time Marshall locked us in his boardroom until we helped him with a large backlog of legal work. That was a blast. Who knew patents were so much fun? With Marshall in charge, it was a banner year. Yes, that's the one corny joke of this presentation. Honestly, Marshall, your leadership was nothing short of incredible. And it's not just the things that are most visible to all of us as members, but there were so many behind the scenes things that you did, from contracts to bylaws, strategic planning to the Paul Harris home. And despite all of this, and still presumably staying employed as far as I know, you were always available to talk with people and engage in whatever needed to be engaged. Now, I know one of the things that was so important for you was the strict adherence to time and schedule. It's a hallmark of your presidency. Rarely would a meeting go by without your mentioning the importance of finishing on time. Now, little did he know that as a member of the Union League Club's House Committee, every Tuesday I had staff push the clocks back, so we actually finished every Rotary meeting this year exactly 5 minutes late. Now, speaking of time, I don't know how Marshall has the time he does to devote to Rotary and still maintain a full-time job. I alone spend 2 hours a week at least on the phone with him and exchange hundreds of emails, and that's just the two of us. He never drops the ball and always makes sure that he's engaged with everything that we do. Now, part of the way he does this is by getting up when other people have barely just gone to bed. By the way, I did not doctor this image, and this is not an anomaly. All of us on the board will attest to getting similar emails from Marshall at 4 a.m. on a regular basis. And as we head into my year, if any of you get an email from me with that timestamp on it, please check on my welfare because I've been hacked. I also wanted to share a few things Rotary founder Paul Harris has to say about Marshall. Marshall Schmidt is truly a stand-up fellow. He's calm, cool, and collected. He always follows the four-way test. Also, nice mustache. He wears it almost as well as I did in my 30s. I'm pretty sure, by the way, Paul Harris actually said this. I read it on Facebook, so it's got to be true. In this picture, Marshall even appears to be solving world peace. Man, what can't this guy do? Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, Eric, come on. You're over-exaggerating. This is a little bit too much. You're making Marshall sound like he's Jesus or something. And perhaps you're right. there are many differences. For example, unlike Jesus, Marshall actually takes wine and turns it into water. And to be honest, sadly, not all of Marshall's plans were to prove successful. Here's a photo from early in the Rotary year of Marshall's short-lived Dress Like a Vampire to Rotary initiative. It fizzled. And frankly, some people got confused. I heard it as dress up like your favorite historical Chicago architect / planner, and Walt and Jody heard it as dress like your favorite holiday characters. And speaking of Santa, well, actually this photo is submitted without commentary, but I will say this. The next day after that photo, Marshall was suddenly bragging about a new pair of running shoes, a swanky new fishing rod, and a new deep space radio telescope he just received. Coincidence? Probably. Marshall, you never did tell me how you got that telescope into your house. But alas, we are at the end of yet another Rotary year. It was so beneficial to work side by side with Marshall this year, since now we both know where all the bodies are buried. And it is time, once again, in our long and storied history as a club, for the peaceful transfer of power from the 116th president to the, hey, Marshall, I said peaceful. Okay, that's better. Marshall, I appreciate the care and compassion you always show to our members. I feel that if I lead this club half as well as you, I will consider it a success. So I hope all of you at home can give yet another warm round of applause to our immediate past president, Marshall Schmidt. And with that, I am also going to hand Marshall a few presents that we have for him. Let us, pardon me while I step out of view here. Here's your first present, and feel free to open while I'm talking. There's one present that we were not able to have for Marshall right now, but it is a cookbook, a Rotary cookbook, since Marshall likes to cook, and probably more so now during the pandemic. And the proceeds from that book go to Polio Plus. And so once we have that book in hand, you will have a copy of that, Marshall. So what do you have there?
So a collection of Rotary-themed books.
You want to just talk that way so Mike picks you up.
Yeah, here. Let's take this off for a moment. It's a collection of Rotary-themed books by Cliff Dockerman. It looks like notes from members, which is very touching. Thank you so much. A Century of Service by David Forward, and Doing Good in the World. This is a book also by Forward about the Rotary Foundation. So.
And Marshall loves to read and he loves Rotary, so we thought that those gifts would be very apropos. And we have one more present for you. I hope you like this one. This one actually required us to use the other side of our brains for once and be a little bit creative here. You can just tear it off.
Oh, this is fantastic. So this is Marshall Schmidt, 116th President of Rotary Club of Chicago. And so this is a picture that was taken at a retreat in Paw Paw Lake with Paul Harris. And this is the picture we took to recreate this image at our lake house during our board retreat. So thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much. I can't tell you how much this means to me and how special the special presentation was. So
thank you. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Thank you. One more round of applause for Marshall, please.
And Eric, you will make a phenomenal president.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One of the great things that we also have been able to accomplish here in the last several months of Marshall's presidency, despite the pandemic, is gaining many new members over recent months. And this is really a testament, again, to the leadership of Marshall, our board, and our club administrators camp. So now it's an honor for me to introduce Rotary One's membership chair, Laura Inns, who will induct several of these new members into our club. Laura.
Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize. I have a sick dog who either barks or annoys me, so those are my options. And right now it's the annoying option. So on behalf of the club, we're here today to welcome 3 new members to our club: Nick Del Carla, Jenny Fabish, and Tony McHale. They are all new members. For those who, many of you are aware, we are doing a membership drive where membership, the proposal fee is waived and where dues are waived while we're meeting remotely. So it's a great incentive, and we've been really seeing an uptick in our membership. All right, so we'll get started here. Good morning. It is my great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of the Rotary Club of Chicago to welcome each of you as a member of Rotary One. We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship that we will share, but also for your talents, abilities, and enthusiasm that will help us carry out our many projects to make our community, our country, and the world a better place in which to live. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it is built on those eternal principles that have served the moral compass for people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. So I will request that Nick, Jenny, and Tony, if you would please raise your right hand. Each of you has been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Chicago because your fellow Rotarians believe you to be a leader in your profession and because you manifest the intelligence and commitment of heart that fit you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary. You are a representative of your profession in this club, and in any information of educational value pertaining to your profession must naturally come to us through you. At the same time, you become an ambassador for us to your profession, and we rely upon you to carry the principles and ideals of service, which we here inspire, to those who share your professional activity. The community will know and judge Rotary by your embodiment of its character and service, and we will accept you as a member because we know our principles and organization will be safe in your keeping. We will also expect you to give us inspiration that will help us become better Rotarians, and it is with this hope that I ask the president of the Rotary Club of Chicago to recognize you as a Rotarian. Normally we would give you pins, but in this era we are still waiting on locating our pins, and we will be sending you pins. You will receive a Rotary pin and a Rotary Club of Chicago pin, which is a unique and highly coveted in the Rotary world pin representing our club as the first club. Now I'd like to go ahead and give each new member the opportunity to introduce themselves to the club. We'll start with Nick Del Carla, and he will go ahead and, yep, there we go.
Okay, awesome. Hey, hi everyone. My name is Nick Del Carlo, and it's a great honor to be here. I live in this Gold Coast neighborhood in the city of Chicago, and I really enjoy biking lakeside during summer and fall. My professional background, as a founder of OD Management Inc., I have proven expertise in delivering solutions by leveraging Scrum, Agile, and Lean methodologies. I've consistently adopted innovative approaches to solving complex corporate problems throughout the 20 years of my career. Through training and coaching, I enable clients to solve problems while delivering outcomes and strategically focusing on solving big corporate problems. My specialty is challenging the status quo. I will question corporate rules and ways of doing things in order to find a more simple, effective, and higher quality outcome. Just to give you a couple of use cases here with Agile and Scrum. Bosch, for example, a German company located in Stuttgart, Germany with over 400,000 employees. I had the great opportunity to work globally and travel back and forth to many countries in Europe, including Portugal, Germany, and so forth. I ended up creating the highest performing team and team of teams in North America, which is a big deal with that many teams involved. We successfully implemented a global talent acquisition platform using AI, which is also known as artificial intelligence. Also, HCSC, local here, Chicago company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, We ended up winning innovation awards with new application development, software, and skilled Scrum across multiple teams. And for a third use case example, BP Fuels, North America, British Petroleum, ended up scaling Scrum with over 14 teams and successfully led the teams to deliver over 30 amazing financial dashboards when the teams were stuck in a holding pattern for 2 years before Agile implementation and scaling Scrum. So getting to the good stuff, the reason why I joined Rotary One. I joined Rotary One in honor of my girlfriend, the late Negin Dahesh. Negin was the president of the Century City Club in Los Angeles, California. I witnessed a large amount of Negin's acts of kindness and generosity over the years, and I thought I'd carry her torch with helping Rotary achieve charity goals and get positive involvement in the global community. So I'm here to help, so please feel free to reach out to me via email, phone, anytime, or in person. As a Chicago native, I'm truly proud to join the first Rotary Club, Rotary One, right here in Sweet Home, Chicago. And I'd like to say something in German to our new Rotary International President, Holger. Glückwunsch, President Holger. Thank you, and Dankeschön, Nick.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nick. Welcome to Rotary One. We look forward to getting to know you better. Next up, we'll hear from Jenny Fabish. Please introduce yourself to the club.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Fabish. I am fairly new to the Chicago area. I moved here a little over a year ago, just a few days shy of a year ago, and from Indiana. And I am an organizational psychologist, and my consulting business pertains primarily to management training and coaching, and HR consulting, that sort of thing. And so I am very intrigued and impressed with all of the work that the Rotary One does. I'm very excited to get engaged with my new area and to continue to do some of that wonderful work.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Welcome to the club. We look forward to getting to know you as well. Tony, our last new member, please go ahead and introduce yourself to the club.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me as a member of Rotary One. Chicago is my adopted hometown. I've lived here now for 20 years. And after the last 20 years in the food business, I am in the final stages of opening up my own business in the South Loop. And it is important to me that as I open up this business, that more than just being successful, that it has a positive impact on the community, microly in the South Loop, bigger in the city of Chicago, and then as we go wider through the world. And I think that differently than other networking groups, Rotary, through their good citizenship and their service opportunities, provides that opportunity for my company and my employees to give back what we've been getting given so generously over the last 25 years of my life. So thank you.
Welcome to the club, Tony. Thank you so much. All right, Eric, I turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Laura. Now I'd like to introduce past president of Rotary One and chair of the Rotary One Foundation, Michael Ferris.
Thank you, Eric, and congratulations to you, Eric, to International President Holger, District Governor Chuck, all of the incoming officers and directors of Rotary One, and to all of our new members. And Marshall, thank you for all of your hard work this year, and on a very personal note, for the inspiration that you've provided me over many years. We at Rotary One have the privilege of being able to support the mission of Rotary here and around the world in many ways. District Governor Chuck is going to talk in a few minutes about the amazing contributions that members of this club have made to the Rotary International Foundation. But right here at home, the Rotary One Foundation has been the lifeblood of this club's service mission since it was created. It's my honor to serve as the chair right now of the Rotary One Foundation, and to take a moment to acknowledge some of our significant donors whom we recognize through the Chess Perry Fellowship. The Chess Perry Fellowship recognizes individuals who've given $1,000 or more to our foundation.
The names of the people who have achieved that recognition are on your screen. And it's named after Ches Perry, who was the first General Secretary of Rotary International, sort of the John Hugo of his day. So thank you to everyone who has given so generously of your personal funds to our club, to our foundation, to our projects, and all of the individuals who have benefited from those projects. Thank you again, and now I'd like to welcome District Governor Chuck Corrigan.
Thank you, Mike. Asked to recognize those in the club who have become new Paul Harris Fellows and those that have advanced to a second or third or higher level of Paul Harris recognition. The present, and then you'll see on the screen in front of you that we have 9 first-time Paul Harris Fellows, and then 3 other members of the club who have reached the Paul Harris Fellow +1 or Paul Harris Fellow +3. The presentation of Paul Harris Fellow recognition is the Rotary Foundation's way of expressing its appreciation for substantial contribution to the humanitarian educational programs of the foundation. It's named for Rotary's founder, Paul Harris, who we all know is a Chicago lawyer who started Rotary International in 1905. Because of the gifts that you have made to the Rotary Foundation, it is able to carry out programs that achieve improved living conditions, increased food production, better education, improved treatment of the sick and disabled, new channels for the flow of international understanding, brighter hopes for peace, and now support of our environment. In becoming a Paul Harris Fellow, you join a remarkable company of persons throughout the world and in your club, all recognized for their devotion to the ideals of goodwill, peace, and understanding. These goals of Rotarians are the same the world over, and one that our new honorees clearly share. It gives me great pleasure to virtually present to you the Paul Harris Fellow lapel pins, which I assume you'll get in the mail shortly. We congratulate you, and we thank you for your commitment to the programs of the Rotary Foundation. We also had on the screen, and if we could put those back up briefly, recognize the other members of the club who've already received the Paul Harris Fellow Award, and we recognize that their contributions help support the programs of the foundation, and we thank them for their continued support.
Thank you very, very much, District Governor Chuck Corrigan. Appreciate that, and I appreciate all the contributions both to our foundation at Rotary One and the Rotary Foundation at Rotary International that really does help us do the projects that we all want to do in the world. So I want to thank you all for sticking with us this far into the program. We're now moving on to just a few concluding items. Let me first say, and give a little plug for next week's meeting. We once again leverage the magic of Zoom with yet another international program. So we'll have Rotary After Work live from Tokyo West with guest speaker Miguel Kitamura, founder of Kitamura Law, and a sister club signing ceremony with our sister club Tokyo West and their president, Mr. Miki Yajima. Now, a very important part of the program, giving some gifts virtually for now until we send them in the mail to incoming Rotary International President Holger Knaack. First of all, similar to Marshall, we will be sending you a cookbook, Rotary cookbook, proceeds of which go to Polio Plus. We also have a couple of gifts here, one that will go to you and one to Mark Maloney, past president of Rotary International, from Marshall. They are plates of Chicago, and that's just a tribute to what you're about to do and what Mark has done for the year. We also have a copy of The Golden Strand, which is a history of the early years of Rotary One. And then finally, we also have a candle, and you can see the picture of the candle up on your screen now. We offer every Rotary One speaker a gift of thanks from a local community-based organization with the goal of effecting lasting change in Chicago. All proceeds from these candles support Bright Endeavors, an organization whose mission is to empower young moms by providing transitional jobs and professional skills training. This not only helps these young moms, but it also supports their kids and ultimately our communities. This is consistent with our community service focus this year on education. In addition, it is our pleasure to have an engraved brick on the President's walkway at the Paul Harris Memorial here at Mount Hope Cemetery, honoring your upcoming year of leadership as Rotary International President. The stone company was closed because of COVID-19 and only recently reopened. So we don't actually have a photo. I promise you it's a real brick and not a virtual brick, and we will send you the photo as soon as it is completed. But I am going to make you work for that brick one last time. And if you don't mind, Holger, could you lead us in the four-way test while the rest of us recite it at home?
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to do that. And thank you very much for these gifts. I had last year the opportunity to visit this place where the grave of Paul Harris. It was very impressive seeing all these stones. And now I'm happy to read the four-way test, what is so important for all Rotarians wherever they are in this world. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much, Holger. Thank you to everybody who attended today. Thank you to Cam and Larry Engelhardt for all of the behind-the-scenes work that you did to make this run smoothly today. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.